in most of the medical schools in the United States of America. They'll be in most of the world. Who endows them? The Rockefeller Foundation, other foundations associated with this power elite. And who controls the pharmaceutical industry? The Rockefeller Foundations and other powers within this entire same group. So why did Gerald Celente say, look for some natural cures, look for something that doesn't take pills being pushed on you, that doesn't take drugs, look for a lot of different situations. You're going to have to take control of your own medical situation as times are changing. We should have been doing that anyway. So what we've got is the power elite controlling the media, the power elite controlling the same people that control the financial institutions, controlling the medical institutions, and they've got this eugenics movement where they want to limit population. Now, at one point, Nelson Rockefeller became vice president. He became head of, health, education, and welfare, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, he was assistant secretary of HEW. Started biological program for population control, and at that time started a program, the MK program, and the military, and they actually said they were looking for a way to reduce the population of the world. Let's get into the MK program, Professor Scott.
Yes, well, in the course of the research, it was discovered, and then the research really began with Oswald Avery and Peyton Roos. Now, Peyton Roos was a scientist who apparently did not have the same kind of evil goals that some of the members of the Rockefeller apparatus apparently entertained. But against the background, the scientific background of those folks back in the turn of the century, it was discovered that the mycoplasma, which is a fragment of the DNA nucleic acids of bacteria, was a very dangerous biological agent and capable of doing a great deal of harm, but they weren't exactly sure how to handle it, they weren't exactly sure how to work it, and then the United States Navy had commissioned a board to study a problem. Every springtime, the young naval recruits were developing a kind of walking pneumonia, and this was taking them out of their training programs and delaying their graduation and delaying the manning of the ships and so on that they required. And at the head of that program was Dr. Robert Huebner. And Robert Huebner, taking his work very seriously, studied the lungs of these people with the walking pneumonia, and he saw in the lungs a disease agent that he didn't recognize, didn't know anything about, and so he called it the pleural pneumonia organism, PPO. And then they also discovered that these students who came down with pneumonia usually or often had, as a kind of a side effect, a disease in the adenoids, where the adenoids, as he said, spontaneously degenerated. And when he studied the adenoids, they excised those and looked at them under the microscope, he saw this same disease organism that he saw in the lungs, the pleural pneumonia organism, so he called it the pleural pneumonia-like organism, PPLO, and then somebody drew his attention to the fact that, hey, that is not actually a PPLO, a pleural pneumonia-like organism. That is what is called a mycoplasma. And that was discovered way back in 1898 by Nocard and Roux at the Pasteur Institute in France. So suddenly they had an agent which would affect the respiratory system very seriously and would also bypass the immune system and do great damage to the immune system. And that organism was called the mycoplasma. And that was when things really became quite active. And then, as coincidence had it, tragic coincidence, Eisenhower became elected president. And he, of course, was a kind of an executive-type president. He assigned jobs to people, and then he sat back and let them do it, or let them do what he thought they were doing. And
he played golf, right?
gave Nelson Rockefeller the role of Assistant Secretary to the Health, Education, and Welfare Secretary of State, and that was Nelson Rockefeller. And Nelson then established in HEW what he called a war room. And he brought a number of people from the Rockefeller apparatus, the private organization, into government. And they began looking at this mycoplasma with its wonderful capacity to destroy the human immune system. They thought, boy, that's a really important thing to have if we want to control population. Destroy the human immune system, and people are going to be subject to all kinds of pneumonias and cancers and all the rest of it. And he then realized, or was advised by the scientists, that we can grow this mycoplasma on the kidneys of monkeys. So they established a great number of primate farms throughout the United States. One was the Delta primate farm down near Louisiana, or down near New Orleans in Louisiana. And when they raised these primates, or monkeys, they would kill them at a certain point, remove their kidneys, mash up the kidneys, and on that mashed up kidney, they could grow the mycoplasma. So that led to the next step. After this had all been well established by Nelson Rockefeller and his researchers in health, education, and welfare, Rockefeller asked for a new job, and he was given that new job by Eisenhower, and the new job was to direct the activities of the CIA. Now, the CIA actually works out to being, this is what it really is, all the garbage about it being a patriotic organization, everything aside. In actual fact, the CIA is the private army for the Wall Street power brokers that are behind the Gulf War and behind a number of activities such as 9/11 and so on. And they realized, okay, we've got to have mycoplasma to do the harm to the human immune system. We've got to have mashed up monkey kidneys to grow that mycoplasma on. We have to have farms to grow the monkeys, and so there's a number of different monkey farms throughout the United States, and they were raising these species of mycoplasma on the monkey kidneys and tying it in with the CIA, and they said to the CIA, okay, now we want to have some programs where we develop different kinds of biological agents that will do two things. One agent is supposed to disable people, and the other agent is supposed to kill them. Now, why have two agents, one to disable and one to kill?
Let's bring that. Why two agents? Let's do that when we get back. Why two agents? And the program, grown on monkey kidneys, MK Ultra, MK Delta, MK Naomi. The MK stands for Monkey Kidney Program, under the auspices of Nelson Rockefeller and the same group who we're bailing out today. Wow. More when we get back on Erskine Overnight. So under direction of the Rockefeller apparatus, under the control of the United States government, they were setting out under this MK program, under the auspices of the CIA, to develop two agents. And we're talking to Professor Donald Scott. AIDS, The Crime Beyond Belief is the name of the book. And two agents, one to kill and one to disable. Why two agents? Why not just one? Why not just kill off who you want killed off? And are they targeted to certain races or certain peoples? Why two agents, Professor Scott?
Well, the fact of the matter is that you can kill off 8,000 mostly black people every day from AIDS, and the world doesn't really give that much of a darn about it. But you could not kill off 8,000 people